To do or not to do a full bust adjustment is a question I've been pondering on these couple of days with two garments, same size. For one, I did a full bust adjustment. For the other one, I didn't. It's a top and a dress. Let's see how they fit. Keep watching. Hi sewing friends, my name's Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing. Welcome back if you're always stopping by, and if you're new to the channel, here you will see a lot of practical sewing content that could be super practical for your own sewing at home. So if you think that's a cool idea, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, tap on the bell so you don't miss out when new videos go live. A few days ago, I took a deep dive into my printed pattern stash. It's a little box where I have a small collection of big 4 patterns, and I was motivated to try a few styles. There are so many cute patterns that I have been sent by friends, and I wanted to make good use of them. So I pulled out 2 patterns that are super cute. One is Simplicity 1806, the other one is New Look 0113. So basically for these 2 patterns, these envelopes come in sizes 6 to 16 US. Now in big 4 patterns, I am not a size 16. In big 4 patterns, I am a size 20. So size 16 has a bust of 38, a waist of 30 inches, and a hip of 40 inches. And those are not my measurements by any chance, not even close. I know that there's wearing ease, positive ease built into these patterns, and I know that sometimes I can get away with sizing down 1 or 2 sizes, and I have been known to actually sew the right size depending on the style. I started this video with the question to do or not to do a full bust adjustment. I had 2 patterns, they were the same size, they were different styles, they had different types of ease. Now for one of these, I sort of thought one way I could get around the sizing issue is to do a full bust adjustment. I know a lot of people take that consistent approach for big 4 patterns. They choose their size based on their high bust. Size 16 has a bust of 38 inches, and that is actually my high bust. And I thought, you know, maybe if I tried, I've always said I've never done a full bust adjustment. I never actually need to do a full bust adjustment if I have my size. So I've consistently chosen my size based on my full bust. My cup size is a C cup, and I can get away with it. I don't have major fitting issues. I thought, but hey, I want to make this pattern because it's so cute. Anyway, there's lots to say about what happened, but let's start with the good news first. I'm going to talk to you about New Look 0113 first, because it's the one, you know, when you want good news first or last. Well, let's get the good news out of the way. Trying to psych myself up. Anyway, this pattern is super cute. It's for woven fabrics. You know, I'm really drawn to woven styles. Super cute pleats on that scoop neckline. Love that scoop neckline. On the back, there's a seam with some shaping for the back. And there's a slit with a button there. And I never understand why these design features are there, because it's so unpractical with such a big neckline. You can pull it over your head. And for me, at least, that little button always gets tangled in my hair, and it's just really annoying. So I usually opt out of those things if they're not needed for function. Like, I don't need to open that to get my head through. You know what I mean? Cute pattern, sleeve options, sleeveless options, fabric sash. You know, just the style that I like to wear. I have to point out that the model there looks super young. She looks like a teenager. I had a look at this pattern, size 16, the largest size available. I looked inside the pattern pieces, and it says there that the wearing ease on this pattern is 6.5 inches, and the finished bust for size 16 is 44.5 inches. That's fine. I did some flat pattern measurements for the hips and the waist, and I thought, yeah, I could get away with just making the size 16. It would give me about 2.5 inches of positive ease at the bust and the hips, because the style is pretty shapeless at the waist. I mean, there is a little bit of waist shaping on that back seam, but not much. I wasn't concerned that the waist wasn't going to fit me. Pattern, the bust that would be in the block has been taken off and put on the neckline here. Having all that volume coming from above, just flowing over the bust, is usually more forgiving than other styles. And plus, the ease on this pattern was quite generous at 6.5 inches. Would I want to choose my size 20 and have 6.5 inches of positive ease? no, I think it would be too big. I probably would have chosen the size 18 if it had been available to me. I did not want to go up and grade the whole pattern up one size. It is quite a lot of work to do that, and if I can avoid it, I'm going to avoid it. And I can cope with a little bit less ease than what the pattern suggests. So I made this pattern and I super like it. Light to medium weight woven fabrics. They even mention cotton. I would not choose anything that doesn't drape nicely because the pleats here will just stick out. This is the neckline there. Now you can see that on the back seam, I just sewed it closed and pressed the seams open. I don't have the little slit with the button there. It's just not practical. So I don't do things when they're not practical. I finished the neckline with bias binding and those little cute pleats are there, super cute. Now the pattern has a huge long pattern piece that you cut on the bias to finish this as binding, but it's huge and it has you sew each of the steps with 5/8 seam allowance, which I never like. So I just disregard those instructions. I sew my store-bought 18mm bias tape on to the neckline with 1/4 inch. Now I've been asked before, do I trim away part of the neckline to sew it with a smaller seam allowance? No, I just sew the neckline with a smaller seam allowance. That makes it slightly higher. That doesn't matter in the long run. Having a neckline that is a teeny bit higher is not going to affect anything, and I'm not going to go away and trim off necklines so that I can have the same intended like fit, you know. I don't do that. I did the same for the armholes. Super fast and easy make. I was quite confident that this was going to fit me. I didn't really have that query in my mind or feeling that, oh, this is not going to fit. No, I was quite happy, and so I chose a fabric that I like. It's a really weird print. It's very she, and let's see it on now. Of course, I have a slip underneath. This is my dress with a belt on, just to give it some definition, because from the bust down it is pretty straight up and down. It doesn't have any shaping at all, and I can put a belt on or take it off, just depends on my mood. I left it a little bit longer so that I could have this little blousing effect when I put the belt on. So it just defines it at the back as well a little bit. So without the belt it's just like that. It's a little bit longer, but I accounted for that for when the belt brings it up. And you can see the little bit of ease at the hips, 2 and some inches of ease. That's all I need. I don't need or want anymore. And you can see here there's a lot of room at the waist. That's up closer. I just did a narrow hem, nothing special there. I have a slip underneath, and it's just super roomy here at the waist. As you can see, there's absolutely no shape. You can see all that volume there, but it doesn't really bother me. It's a lightweight fabric and I can just put a belt on if I want. Look, unfortunately, when I was centering this print, I wanted to make sure these were going down in the middle. And look at this sort of weird print there across the bust. It's actually not going underneath the bust. It's sort of almost underneath the bust. It looks a bit strange. It's part of the design. I wasn't aware of it when I was cutting out the pattern. See the little pleats here? I really like them. When I look down, I can see them, and it's really delicate. It's just small pleats, you know. I wouldn't want huge amounts of pleats and volume up here on top of my bust, so that's good. And the neckline depth is great for me. I like this, no modification. It's quite a high armhole, and I like that because it gives good cover here. So I like that there's no gaping or anything like that on my body, so it does cover my bra strap like it is where it's supposed to be. So I'm happy about that. I don't have to worry. Okay, there are the little pleats up close. I hope you can see them. I'm never quite sure what goes through to you, especially with the print, you know, but lovely detail. Absolutely love it there. I was supposed to have 2 inches, 2 some inches at the bust, and that is absolutely fine. I wouldn't want any more ease than that, and that's why I just made the size 16 and didn't grade up or do any of that with the sizing. Done a full bust adjustment on this, it would have been a really weird full bust adjustment because of the pleats here. I wouldn't have wanted a dart on the side, so I would have had to generate that dart with the full bust adjustment and then throw off that dart into the neckline and have deeper pleats or more pleats. Ah, what a hassle, you know. And if I can fit into it, I'm just not going to do a full bust adjustment. So that's the answer for this specific pattern. What mainly made me choose to do this pattern like now was this neckline feature, right? You saw it on, I love it on, I love looking at it, it's super cute. And I have found an indie pattern company that has something similar. Sinclair Patterns has a woven blouse called Daisy, and it's a blouse, it's not a dress, but you know that can always be a dress too. And it has those cute little pleats there. It has little tulip sleeves and long sleeves. Could always make that sleeveless. The biggest pro about this pattern that I just found is that it has cup sizes A, B, C, D, double D. I mean, come on. I had to go through a lot of like thought process and convincing myself that I was going to be successful with this. That question isn't even in my mind if I went and made the Daisy blouse. I know it's going to fit me. I know that if I choose my correct cup size for sewing, which is not the bra one, I will probably have an awesome result, and it will have the right ease at the waist and the hips, and everything's going to be super good. So I am definitely going to try that option, and yeah, I'm happy I found it. I had a look around, and it's not a feature that you see commonly in a lot of patterns, you know. That's why I made this one. It's super beautiful. I super love it, and I'm excited to try the Daisy one from Sinclair. The next pattern is Simplicity 1806, and this one is a super cute style. Again, the model there on the cover looks so young. Gosh, just yeah, I remember those days when sewing was so much easier because I had a B cup. Anyway, I love all those woven styles of blouses there. That sort of neckline that falls here, it's like a neck piece that falls there, beautiful. Obviously, this is the pattern where I did the full bust adjustment for the first time ever. I'd never done one before. I knew how to do one in theory. I know where to slash and cut and spread and add and tape. I know the thing. It's just that I don't need to do it. So if I don't need to do it, why am I going to do it? In big four patterns, I know they drafted for a woman that's 5'6" and a B cup. I am a bit taller than that, and I'm a C cup. But in practical terms, it doesn't really make that much of a difference if I choose my size based on my full bust. This specific pattern had less wearing ease, 5.5 inches of wearing ease. If I made a straight size 16, I would have had 1.5 inches of ease at the bust, and I think that's just not enough. That would be a really fitted style, and this style is not fitted. It's meant to be made with lightweight wovens. If you look at the model here, it is a nice, loose, comfy fit. That is the style that I wanted to achieve. Doing a little bit of simple maths, I decided I wanted the finished bust to be at 45 inches, right? So if the top finished at 43.5, I needed to add 1.5 inches. So I did a 1.5 inch bust adjustment. That means 3/4 on one side, 3/4 on the other. I had a lot of fun chopping up my pattern piece and changing it. Now, this white area that you see there was originally where the dart was generated based on the apex height of this pattern there. And then I had to bring it down to mine. This ended up making the top longer there, so I had to lengthen there. And it was super straightforward, super fun. Now this pattern has 2 pieces in the front, so I had to lengthen the center one to match the length right there. It wasn't hard at all to do. I did a little bit of tissue fitting and I was happy with the fit there. You can see a little horrible picture right there. I was happy. I was still always shocked I had to drop that dart that much, but I'll talk about that later. And I was quite confident I was going to get a really nice fit. I was so excited about this neckline. That is why I chose to make this pattern and this specific view. I've always been wanting to have that slouchy thing that you can achieve with knit styles, but with a woven. So what happened is I was so excited while I was sewing, and yeah, I'll take you there now. Okay, this is how this neckline looks. It looks horrible. It does not look like the picture, and actually this is cut on the grain. There's no way this is going to conform nicely to this curve and flow nicely. It just looks like a big hot mess, and I mean, this is a really drapey fabric. It would have looked worse in the crepe here. So yeah, I'm glad I tried it and got it out of my system. I'm going to remove this from here and just use the same facing I have in there and just reattach the facing without this on. And then I'll just have like a scoop neckline, and then I'll have a V neckline on the back with that pleat coming out. But even it looks worse on the back because it sort of sticks out. It's not a good idea. I mean, I think this would have worked if it was cut on the bias. It would sort of just drape nicer than like this. It looks terrible. I wouldn't leave the house in this looking like that. It was horrible. It was horrible. And now lately I've been a bit distracted. I have been making a few tiny mistakes in the process of sewing. I have a pretty much consistent approach to each project when I'm getting ready to sew, and I forgot to read reviews about this pattern. I just totally forgot. I was so excited about this neckline, about having done my first ever full bust adjustment. I was sure it was going to fit me great. I love that little dot there on the side. I was excited. And then I put on this neckline. This neckline is just a round thing that goes sandwiched between the main piece and the facing that just goes in between. When I saw it on myself, I was just shocked and disappointed that it looked terrible. Maybe this would have worked out better if it was cut on the bias. Now, I did not have fabric or time to be experimenting with that. You know, I really wanted a navy top. So I just decided to whip it out. I spent a lot of time with the seam ripper, taking out the understitching, like layers upon layers of stitching. And then I had to put my facing back on, understitch it again, you know, yeah. So it took me a while to finish the blouse. I am not completely happy with the way the neckline looks because obviously there's a pattern piece missing, and so the neckline ended up completely wider than it should. So here is the said blouse. I have used contrast facings inside because I was working with a little scrap of crepe. This is bubble crepe. It's super drapey and flowy, perfect for the style. And I have an extremely wide neckline now that is missing that whole piece that was supposed to be there. I decided to top stitch these seams, the one in the center and the one there. Now this was not on the fold. This did have shaping, as this one does a little bit. So it's not like I could have cut the front on the fold. But I decided to highlight those with top stitching. I don't know if you can see. It was a fun top to sew, and while I was sewing and trying it on, I was really happy. The back has a V and a little pleat that comes from it. I think that is super cute, makes it nice and flowy, gives it some ease at the waist and hip. Now, I know it's controversial that these typical full bust adjustments add the width you need to the front, you know, for the bust, right? But it also adds to the waist and the hips. So basically the 1.5 inches I added to the bust, I ended up taking it out from the waist and the hips. I tried it on, it was very loose. I pinned and just sewed it in, tapered it in nicely into the waist and the hips, and I ended up removing that 1.5 inches I'd added down lower on the top. And I've been looking at a video by Alexandra Morgan where she has a method of a full bust adjustment that doesn't add to the waist and hips. So that is a good one to watch. I will link it down below if you're interested in that. I mean, if you did want that extra width at the waist and hips, that's fine, that this typical method uses. But if you don't, I think it's a good one to look into. I will look into it to learn it in case I decide to do a full bust adjustment in the future. But we'll get to that in a second. I really like the top. It's beautiful. I finished the inside with bias binding, the same fabric from here, made it myself. I love this feature of the hem, that it's pointy, it goes like that. I love that. And this style in general, I have never seen in an indie pattern. So I was very excited about it. Now, I am not that much excited about how the neckline looks on myself. So let's see how it fits. I've paired this navy top with this colorful pair of pants, Simplicity 1668, special because they're print and this is solid. the whole reason why I wanted a basic navy top with something special. And it's nice and flowy, and it's not that big that I can't wear it with these wider leg pants like that. I think it still has a bit of shape there, and it's comfortable. I like this hem that ends in a V like that. It's really good. Now it's still quite roomy at the waist and the hips as it's intended to be. After I fixed the fit around this area with the full bust adjustment, I did have to go in and bring it in at the waist and hips at the end stages of the fitting. So that's how it looks at the back there with that pleat. It is a nice flowy top, and it needs to have drapey fabric like this. This is a seam that goes there, and maybe you can see the top stitching on there. Because it's a solid, I decided to do top stitching, same as this center seam there. These seams here, I could have perfected the fit around there. So the neckline without that neck piece that was supposed to be here just on its own turns out to be very scooped and very wide. So it's like a really deep boat neck sort of thing. I mean, it's still modest. I'm not like showing anything. It's still fine. But my bra strap naturally is gonna go there, and it would be seen there. So that's really annoying. So yeah, it limits the wearability of this top that I really like. I like the design, all the pattern pieces. I like how the body fits and everything. It's just this area is a little bit uncomfortable and exposed. So I will make this again. I will correct this and just bring this in like this. This is fine actually. It's just this needs to be wider and come down there so that it will cover the bra strap, you know. At the back you can see the little V neckline there. I think it's cute, and it's got that little pleat coming from there. I like it. Otherwise I love it. I mean, I like how this looks. I think it's a flattering look. It just, in the practical sense, it's just more difficult to wear. And remember to bring the straps down to my sort of shoulders instead of where they naturally want to hit. I did a lot of fiddling with this neckline. I am not too happy about how it looks here on the front. I think I could have played a bit more with shaping it to me from these seams right there, from there and there. And I think I'm gonna go and back into this to fix it. What I have planned is to remove the front facing. I don't want to have a facing on the front. I will keep a facing on the back because that lies and sits really nicely. And I will adjust this again and make it fit better around my bust, and then I'll finish the front with bias tape. I still have fabric for this, so I can use that inside, and it'll never show on the outside because I'm always understitching, you know. But you know, it's wearable, but I'm not completely 100% happy with how that fits. It just looks really strange without that neck piece that was supposed to drape over the front. You know, it's such a disappointment. I don't have that feature there. And yeah, I wanted to mention just a few thoughts about how making a full bust adjustment made me feel. And actually not about the full bust adjustment. That was actually quite fun, not difficult to do. It did take time from sewing. It made you spend more time doing it and being, you know, accurate. I wanted it to be really, really accurate. So I'm not upset about that. It's not that I'm upset. I just feel so strange. I can't describe. I've sewn from a large variety of indie pattern companies, and I always have assumed and know that I will most likely need to lower the bust height on that pattern. It's the way I'm built. I've assumed it. It's a thing that I do, and depending on the brand, the size, if it's got cup sizes, all that stuff, I will probably need to lower it by anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1.25 inches tops. Well, with this one, the bust height was less than 10 inches. I mean, on my body, that would hit me like there at my high bust. That's where the apex would have been. And it just made me feel so disconnected from the original pattern. It felt like I was just trying too hard to fit into the pattern, if you know what I mean. I don't know if you know what I mean. That the adjustment was just too much. It doesn't translate on how it fits onto my body. It fits fine. That is where it has to be. But it just made me feel like I was really, really away from the standard that they use. And it shouldn't make me feel that way. I know, tell me in theory, I have everything really clear in my mind. I know that my worth is not based on these things or my sewing skill or anything like that. But every time I sew a big 4 pattern and that I need to adjust for the bust height, it just makes me feel very, very strange. Very strange. What would be my approach going further? Look, if I have a big 4 pattern company pattern that does not fit me, I can't make it. Simple as that. I could get away with these being a 16, you know, but some patterns go up to a 14 and that's it. I can't sew that. It's not going to fit me. So I'm not going to try and force that to fit my body when there are so many other options for me. I did not mind doing this full bust adjustment, but the feelings that I got from it were not that great. I didn't enjoy feeling the way I felt while making these adjustments for some reason. And if I have the option of sewing patterns that have cup sizes that I know the fit of, that I'm more comfortable with, I think I'm going to drift more to those. Big 4 pattern companies, they need to come in my size, the ones that come from 16 to 24 usually. So my body size is a 20 on big 4, but I usually sew 18 and sometimes 16, depends. Yeah, these are borderline, these borderline fit me. And I'm glad I made them work, but they could have turned out really, really bad. I know I'm still on the fence about this one. I will make it wearable. If you know that about me, you will know that I will make it wearable no matter what. I know this was a different video. It wasn't focused on sewing actually, but it was focused on fitting and choosing sizes and a talk about full bust adjustments and options. So it gave me a lot of food for thought. I hope it does the same for you. Let me know in the comments what your experiences are with full bust adjustments. Do you do them? Do you find other ways to get around them? I will keep finding other ways to get around them and not do them because I don't need them usually. I did need it for this specific pattern. For sure, I couldn't have gotten away with not doing it. But in general, my approach would be to not do them because I have a C cup and I can get away with not doing it. Please let me know what your struggles are with fitting your bust. I'd love to chat about that down in the comments. So go for it. You know I always reply. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you again soon with another sewing video. Bye.